Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you to our webinar today, and hopefully wherever you are in the U.S., it's sunshine and clear skies, because here in the nation's capital, it's gloomy, a little bit on the chilly side, and it's very, very wet. So we've got rain here. And for those of you who may be calling in from the Florida Gulf Coast area, know that you're in our thoughts and prayers. Stay safe, be safe till we get this hurricane out of the way and push her on out through the rest of the country. But we're glad that you all are here today. My name is Marie Walker. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at the Core Network. And a quick reminder to you, as always, remember that you can find the information about our webinars and our other events under the Events tab on our website, which is corenetwork.org. We also share about upcoming webinars on our social media platforms and in the Crew Leader, our newsletter for core staff that comes out weekly. A couple of reminders for you. Please make sure that you are on mute. We invite you to drop your questions in the chat as we go, and we'll get to them if we have time at the end. Captions are turned on. In your Zoom window, you should see an option in the lower toolbar to turn on captions. You might need to click the three dots. So just watch for that. This session will be recorded and posted on our website tomorrow morning. You can go to the Events tab, click Webinars, and find this event. And please stick around at the end because there's going to be a test. No, just kidding. No, at the end, you will have some important updates and informations and reminders from the Core Network. And also, when you close the webinar, there'll be a quick survey that will pop up that will ask for your feedback on today's session, which is always important to us because what you think matters to us. Today's topic, the topic for today is a session on an overview of the member benefits and future opportunities here with the Core Network. FY25 member renewals are going out next week. So we wanted to do a little refresher and a little reminder of the benefits that you receive as a member of the Core Network. FY24, which we are fastly approaching the end of our fiscal year, was a great year here at the Core Network. We added new grants and opportunities for cores, such as Working Lands Climate Corps and the Urban and Community Forestry Program, as well as new technical assistance opportunities, such as our webinar series and our Workforce Development TA request form. In FY24, the Core Network sub-granted out about $15 million in funds to our member cores, and we hope to only exceed that number in FY25. At this time, I'm going to pass this off to our Director of Member Services, Bobby Tillett, and Bobby will be able to talk more about what existing benefits you have and future member benefits. Anyway, glad you all are here with us. And Bobby, it's now all up to you.
Thanks, Marie. Absolutely no pressure with a statement like that. But thank you, everyone. We're excited to have you join us. I also will repeat that this is a recorded session. So if you have other staff at your organization who are interested in learning more about what being a member of the Core Network means or entails, feel free to share this recording with that staff as well. I want to start by just talking a little bit about the membership team here at the Core Network. I have the privilege and the honor of working with three of my colleagues, Hannah Soroki, Rachel Swerin, and Katie O'Hara. All of us on the membership team are here to field our member cores questions, concerns, needs. So if you ever have a question about what you can do with your Core Network membership or who on the Core Network staff is best to reach out to for a certain concern or issue, you can always come to us. I like to say that we are the operator here at the Core Network. So if you dial 0, it will find its way to typically my desk or Rachel's, and we're happy to help connect you with who can best help. I also want to say the membership team, one of our goals is to know as much as we can about each of our 150 member corps across the country. So if you're looking to make a connection with a specific corps, whether that be around an area that you're hoping to develop best practices or just spitball some ideas, or you know exactly you're looking to work in this area and you want to see what other corps are in that area, you can always come to us and we're happy to share some contacts, share what we know about the corps footprint anywhere within the US. And we, as Marie mentioned, we have the member renewal here coming up next week. So just a few notes on important dates and requirements and reminders around the renewal. So the Core Network membership, it runs on our fiscal year calendar. So that's October 1st through September 30th. And we will send out a notice on Monday of next week that details the instructions for renewal. And then our deadlines following that are November 1st is when we'll need commitment forms returned to hear from corps that they're committed to renew for FY25. And then there also is a data request that goes out with renewals as well. So that's what we call the annual profile. We'll be having a webinar talking about that request, what it entails on October 9th, and you can find that on our events page. But that annual profile has a deadline of November 22nd. So to successfully renew, we'll need that commitment letter back by October 1st. We'll need that annual profile back by November 22nd. And then membership dues, we have two payment plan options. It can either be annual or a quarterly plan. So on your commitment form, you'll be able to mark which type of plan you're hoping to opt into. And then we'll be looking for those dues to come back by that November 1st date, either the quarterly or the full. So our hope for today is to kind of break down our member benefits into three main sections. So the first is around what we're terming the tried and true ways of engaging with the core network. So these are the benefits that we see most of our corps engage in year to year. And my colleague Rachel is going to talk a little bit about that. We're also excited to have Lindsay Anderson here from Willis Towers Watson to talk specifically about the core member health insurance plan. So we'll go a little more in depth in that in particular. After that, we're going to talk about what was new in this past fiscal year. So whether it be evaluations, some of our grant programs, some of our technical assistance offerings, we want to highlight and celebrate some of the new options and opportunities that came up in FY24. And then we're going to close talking about what we hope to build in the future in FY25. My colleague Hannah Soroki is going to talk a little bit about some member focus groups that we hosted, some of our findings from that process, and how it is going to inform what the core network is hoping to build for our members in this next fiscal year. So with that, I will pass it over to my colleague Rachel Zwerin for the first section.
Thank you, Bobby. Okay, if you want to go to the next slide. So I'm going to briefly discuss different ways that you can engage with the core network and make the most out of your membership. Hopefully this is a bit of a refresher and you already know all of this, but if you don't, hopefully you learned something new and are excited to get engaged in something new. So first, we have a few different coalitions and working groups. The first is our Public Land Service Coalition. So this is led by our government relations team staff that discusses funding and programmatic opportunities that come from the federal land management entities such as the National Park Service, U.S. Forest Service, or other Department of Interior agencies. This coalition meets every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. And we have the State and Local Projects Coalition, also led by the Core Networks Government Relation Team, that discusses funding and programmatic opportunities that come from the federal government and trickle down to the local and state government, and really engaging those state and local urban cores. And this meets every the last Thursday of every month from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern. And then our communications working group, led by our communications team, really helps to try and build a community of learning and sharing of resources related to a variety of different topics, and can learn about national campaigns and communications assets, etc. Through this. So if you are interested in getting on those mailing lists or getting an invite to some of those meetings, feel free to contact those contacts below on the bottom of the slide pertaining to each one. Can go to the next slide. Thank you. Next, we have our programs and projects. So we offer a couple different capacity building grants for member cores that can provide direct pass-through funding to help assist cores with operational programming and core member needs. We have the Opportunity Youth Service Initiative. So this is a main focus on opportunity youth, young adults out of school and out of work at the time of enrollment at the core. And then we have our Education Award Program. So this allows you to enroll core members as AmeriCorps members, so then they can receive an education award at their end of service, and then can use that to defer student loan payments or help support their future educational needs. And if you're interested in learning more about this, the contacts are below on this slide. And then we also have a couple of cooperative agreements that you can utilize with us. So we have cooperative agreements with different federal partners, including the Fish and Wildlife Service, National Park Service, and Forest Service, that you can use to engage in fee for service contracts. Our programs team can help with that project solicitation, contract management, and packaging those deliverables and any TA associated with this. And then we also have our core project assistant team that helps to support small and medium-sized National Park Service units with developing core appropriate projects. If you're interested in learning more about this, you can contact Tim with CPAT or Candace with the cooperative agreements to learn more about how to get engaged with that. And then we have several different awards as part of our national conference. So different opportunities to nominate a core member of the year. So you have the opportunity to nominate a core member who has exceeded the expectations of your core by exhibiting outstanding leadership skills and demonstrating commitment to service and civic engagement. And then also project of the year. So you can nominate a project that your core has done that you believe has demonstrated your ability to give your core members a positive experience and provide the community with meaningful improvements. And then our Legacy Achievement Award, which honors leaders with the core family who has made significant contributions to the core movement. The deadline for all of these award nominations is November 1st, and the links to these forms will provide more details on what those application requirements are. And then we have the Patricia Sagawa Core Member Relief Fund. So this is designed to provide financial support to young adults facing barriers during their term of service in one of our 150 plus full member organizations of the Core Network. The fund is made possible through a generous donation by Shirley Sagawa, who's a member of the Core Network's board of directors. Just this year, we have provided over $40,000 in awards to core members through this fund. Core members can request up to $500, and the application is open quarterly. You can see on the slide when the next cycle will be opened, so that will be November 21st to December 1st. And the following dates for the upcoming year are listed below as well. And then for our website, so we're always making improvements and trying to ensure the ease of the website. And we have a couple different ways that you can utilize this for your benefit. So we have a member landing page. So each full member core has a landing page on the Core Network website, and that is where you can have an overview of your program, point of contacts. You can like put in different social media handles and videos. And then also the Job at Core's page is where you can post job openings and core member positions. And those open positions would also be shown on your landing page as well. And then we have our events tab where you can see recordings of past webinars and learn about upcoming virtual and in-person events. And with that, I will pass it over to Lindsay to talk about our health insurance.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for having me. I'll just give a quick update or introduction for myself, I should say, while I start sharing my screen here. So let me know when you can all see. It'll just take me 1 second. But I'm Lindsay Anderson, and I am with Willis Towers Watson. So I'm an associate director here. And Willis Towers Watson is the broker and consultant for the Core Network health plans. So you may see my name from time to time. If you're already a member program, you've maybe seen some emails from me. But I think you should be seeing my screen here in just a second. 3, 2, 1. Is it there? Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm really pleased to be on today. I'll just spend a couple of minutes talking about what we do for the Core Network each year, and then some benefits for joining the health plan program. So like Bobby and Rachel mentioned, this is one of the tried and true ways to engage your members, and also helps a lot with recruiting new members. So having affordable healthcare benefits for folks is a really appealing way to look at getting new membership. So I'll touch a little bit on what we do. I also want to mention that we work in conjunction with our administrative partner, SMIC. So I will reference SMIC here and there, and then also Cigna, who is the insurance provider. So just for a quick overview, we do typically have anywhere from 100 to, as Bobby mentioned, ideally it would be great to have 150 programs participating each year in the Core Network Health Plan. It is optional for groups to join, but there are really great benefits for those who do join. The program also services and provides benefits for about 3,000 to 4,000 members each year. So really valuable benefit, and lots of programs have been able to take advantage of this. We know budgeting is super important, so I included the costs of the program here. There is a primary benefit available for groups who opt in to participate in the health plan program, and that includes medical and prescription drug coverage, behavioral health care, and accidental death and dismemberment insurance for folks who may be involved in an accident during their service term. So that's the primary benefit for folks to access, and I'll share a little bit more about what the comprehensive coverage includes through the medical and prescription drug program. But just at a high level, that's what's included and available at about $500 per member per month per year. And then there's also an optional dental and vision plan that can be added. Those dental and vision benefits are bundled together and available at $20 to $23 per member per month, just depending on which network is chosen. It does require common enrollment with the medical plan. So if you decide to offer medical and the dental and vision plan coverage to your members, they are required to be offered together. Also, really important note, 100% of eligible members are required to be enrolled if you do offer coverage to your group. So you can't pick and choose certain members to be enrolled. So if a member does not have any coverage elsewhere, they do need to be enrolled in the program. And programs are required to pay 100% of the premium for their enrolled members. So if you're thinking about what budgeting might look like for this year, I wanted to make sure you had the amounts there if you're considering adding coverage. So that said, new groups can enroll anytime. These rates run through September 1st through August 31st each year. So it's a little bit different renewal period, but we just completed the September 1st renewal. So these rates are in effect through about the next 11 months or so. And with that, I thought we would take a little bit closer look at what the medical plan program includes. So that is a very comprehensive insurance plan. So it's utilizing Cigna's OAP network, which is what most of us would be familiar with as a PPO network. So there's no special tricks to getting low cost coverage. You can access the medical plan just as you would a regular medical plan, but it does have very low out-of-pocket costs for members, just knowing that affordability is super important during member service terms. So just at a high level, I won't go through every detail here, but the deductible is only $175 per year. And then the maximum out-of-pocket costs if a member had to have an inpatient hospital stay or a really extensive emergency room visit or treatments, they would have a $2,750 out-of-pocket maximum per year. But that said, for most folks, typically they would have just that $175 deductible, and then they would have office visit copays, which are very, very low cost. So for a virtual office visit, it's only $5 per visit, and then in-person primary care is only $10. So very, very affordable benefits for members. I want to make sure that that is definitely very, very clear and definitely helps with affordability for members. Also included in the insurance plan, we know that behavioral health care is very high priority for folks, and just nationally and also globally, mental health is a challenge for lots of individuals. And the great thing is that it's becoming less and less stigmatized. So folks are really looking for access to care and even looking for preventive mental health resources like coaching or meditation benefits, things like that. But this insurance plan does include really comprehensive mental health support for members. So they have access to virtual care, again, at just $5 per visit. They can see a therapist as many times as they'd like under that benefit. There's also 3 free sessions per year per issue through a different EAP acronym. This one stands for Employee Assistance Program, but it's essentially an embedded assistance program for mental health support within the health plan. There's also behavioral health partnerships, and I've highlighted a few on the next page. But before that, I just also wanted to touch on the availability of the 24/7 nurse line. So this can also be helpful for administrators who are looking to support their members. Maybe there's a situation in the field or on site, and it's one of those situations where it's, oh, I don't know, do I need to go to an urgent care or emergency room? Is there a lower cost option available? That 24/7 nurse line support's available for members and administrators to call to help triage the situation and get directed to the right side of care. So super handy, great benefit that's included. And then on the next slide here, I just wanted to highlight a couple of the virtual mental health resources that are available through Cigna. There's coaching, there's digital learning, there's self-guided exercises, and then there's text and video-based coaching, therapy, psychiatry, anything your members may need to help take care of their mental health while they're in their service term. These resources, there's many resources and partnership programs through Cigna, so they have a very handy online assessment or quiz that members can take to access care and help get directed to the right resources at the right time. So another great way for folks to engage in their healthcare and their mental health care in particular. And before I wrap up with contact information, there is also a service provided for members who are leaving or ending their service term through VIA Benefits. So VIA Benefits is our partner through WTW that helps get folks enrolled in another health plan so they don't have a lapse in coverage after their service term ends with the core network. So another option as folks consider short-term service terms or temporary service terms, there are options for folks when their coverage ends. So if you have any questions, we encourage groups to reach out to our administration partner, SMIC. Their contact information is here. You can also reach out to WTW if you have been referred, or maybe you have compliance questions before you join. There's a easy process to get enrolled, and we'll send instructions on what steps need to be taken if you're interested in joining. But that is everything I had to share today. So I thought I would stop sharing my screen if I can. Oops. Don't want to accidentally leave. All right, handing it back over to Rachel. All right. Did that come through okay? I will stay on for questions. If anything comes through the chat, I'll help answer there, and I'll stay on for Q&A at the end. All right, thanks everybody. I really appreciate the time again to be able to join and share a little bit more. Anything, Bobby or Rachel, you feel like I missed that would be good to touch on?
No, I think that was great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, great. So this is just a little preview of the landing page that I briefly mentioned before, what that would look like for your Corps. So this example is with Montana Conservation Corps. You can see all the information that you can put on here. It's public facing. So, you know, the more information, the better to help with anyone who's maybe interested in joining your Corps and seeing what kind of job opportunities are there. It's a very useful resource to take advantage of on our website. And looking forward, we have several different upcoming events to look forward to. We have the Corps Member Development Summit that will be virtual October 22nd to the 23rd. So this will be a lineup of virtual workshops focused on supporting current and recent Corps members in achieving their personal and professional goals. So attendees will have access to various resources and opportunities to connect with fellow Corps members across the country. And we have the Corps Rendezvous that will be happening November 1st to the 4th. So this is an annual gathering designed to build meaningful connections among field and mid-level Corps staff across the country. The event focuses on identifying preferred practices in the area of field work, risk management, and Corps member recruitment and support. So the main goal is to really create that support where you can decompress from the summer season and build a support network of other Corps staff. And this will be taking place in Jamestown, Colorado. And then we have the national conference. So this is our largest annual gathering of conservation, climate, and service Corps programs. This conference helps to unite people from across sectors and throughout the country. So you have the chance to meet other like-minded professionals working in national service, job training, conservation, lands management, youth development, and government. So this will be taking place March 11th to the 13th in Arlington, Virginia, and it'll be our 40th anniversary. So please come celebrate with us. And Some upcoming webinars we have next week, October 1st, Road Trip Nation. This will be taking place 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And in the session, you'll learn about various resources Road Trip Nation offers to help explore career paths and plan their next move. And then our annual profile information webinar will be taking place on October 9th from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern. So as previously mentioned, the annual profile is a request for core member and project data from all of the core network's full member cores. So during this webinar, you'll learn more about why this data is important, how to access, fill out the form, and what changes have been made to the profile this year. With that, I will pass it on to Bobby.
Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it. And I think, as you all could probably tell, there is a lot that the core network does. It's probably a lot of information in a very short period of time. But we hope that this is just scratching the surface on a lot of these different items. And you are more than welcome to reach out to anyone on our team, anyone at the core network generally, to give a bit more detailed information about if this is the right place for you to spend your time and energy as it relates to core network benefits. I also want to give a brief shout out to Lindsay and Willis Towers Watson and the other partners of the health insurance program. In our member focus groups we ran, we got some really good feedback about the ease of administering health insurance for core members through this plan, the importance of having something that fits the young adult age range and shorter terms of service, where that very, very small deductible is a huge benefit for members who may only be on the plan for a year or less. So definitely recommend people look into that plan as a solution for core member health insurance for those members that may not have it through other means. I'm really excited to talk about what was new in this past year. These are things that the core network kind of developed, with input and insight from our membership. And hopefully it helps to broaden a bit of that return on investment that you see in membership. So I'll start with our grants and programs. This year we announced two new sub-granting programs. One is the Working Lands Climate Corps. This is an individual placement-based program that will support 28 grantees and engage 100 young adults in technical skills and climate work alongside the Natural Resource Conservation Service and the National Association of Conservation Districts. So we were very excited to be partnering with AmeriCorps and those agencies to get funding down to members of the core network to help fill these positions. Our second big award from FY24 was around urban and community forestry. So we announced a $5.7 million subaward program to 8 cores to help support and stand up urban and community forestry programming at those organizations. So this will focus on skills development, urban forestry projects, and really looking at engaging cores on climate resilient and healthy urban forests, particularly in areas that are environmental justice communities. So for more information on both of those, the contacts are here, and you all have access to these slides. So anytime you need to pull a contact for something specific, feel free to go there. The core network also has been investing more capacity and funding into evaluations and kind of building a research base of positive impacts that cores have on core members and communities. So our first offering that was new for FY25 was the core staff salary survey. So the goal of this research was to identify pay scales and benefits for 5 common core positions. So that includes the director level, field coordinator, program coordinator, recruiter, and program manager positions. So there is a copy of that report all Core Network members have access to that. So you can contact me or Hannah Soroki on our team, whose email is down there, to receive a copy of that report. We also are taking over as fiscal manager of the Public Land Service Coalition evaluation. So this is an evaluation that looks at environmental impact and outcomes of core programs. The goal of it is to satisfy the AmeriCorps requirement or evaluation requirement for AmeriCorps programs. So the Core Network is going to continue this evaluation into the future, ensure that all cores in our membership have access to a high quality evaluation that they can use for their own AmeriCorps grants, and help work in dialogue with the cores who are part of the evaluation and the evaluation partner to ensure that it's fitting the needs for both our cores and AmeriCorps generally. And then just a quick plug on the National Park Foundation released a core member outcomes evaluation. We did a webinar on this a few weeks ago, so highly recommend you go to our events page to see that webinar or receive a copy of the study, which is linked there too. This is a good example of partners that the Core Network is hoping to work with in the future to just really broaden and deepen that base of research so that you all have good impact data that you can put in your grant proposals, you can put in your messaging out to partners to show really how this model has an impact both on core members going into career pathways or sustainable careers, or the impact that project work has to increase environmental sustainability and healthy nature-based climate solutions from the work that cores do as well. And then we also built in a few more technical assistance offerings for cores that are on demand. So the first is around workforce development. There's a link here for the Career Pathways Interest Survey. We have a workforce development team that is interested and willing to work with cores who may need some additional TA around curriculum development, what credentialing pathways look like for specific industries. They can also help support with best practices related to industry connections or employer connections, what the workforce funding landscape looks like, as well as labor market information. So if you're interested in working with our workforce team, the first step is to submit that survey, and then they will follow up to have a more detailed conversation with you. Accreditation has also broadened the TA experience for individual cores going through accreditation. So there's now kind of a pre-accreditation opportunity for anyone who feels like they want to go through accreditation but don't yet feel entirely prepared for that process. You could reach out to our accreditation team and they can talk about some opportunities to provide intentional TA, some one-on-one support to help prepare your organization to go through that process. And something that I'm particularly excited about is the core member liberation and leadership training. We are now rolling that out and expanding it to any member core within our network. And it's training that TCN is offering free of charge. So the steps here is first having staff attend the fundamentals workshop. We have the date set for that workshop for the next fiscal year. So it's October 30th, November 2nd. We're doing an in-person version of it at the Core Rendezvous. And the other dates are here too. But if your staff go through the fundamentals workshop and see it as a beneficial offering to provide to core members, then they can work with Tia on the Core Networks team to help schedule and set up that training time. And this, for folks who aren't aware, core member liberation and leadership focuses on helping support core members through their leadership development, through their development as community leaders, and helping to support members build that sense of leadership and purpose within their own experience and psyche. So there is more information about that on our website, or you can contact Tia to learn more. And with that, I will pass it over to my colleague Hannah Strokey to talk a little bit about our member satisfaction focus groups and some of the findings we found through that process.
Thanks, Bobby. Hi, everyone. I'm going to give a summary of the focus groups that we hosted this year. A little bit of background. In years past, we've distributed a survey to our full member cores and have historically received pretty low response rates, likely due to many individuals feeling survey fatigue. So with feedback from our membership committee on the core council, they suggested approaching collection of feedback from our member cores using a more engaging method. So we decided to schedule focus groups with core staff to allow discussion between individuals and hopefully receive a more robust data set so that we can learn about what our cores are looking for and hope to inform future activities and strategic direction for TCN. The groups were open to all core staff, and we scheduled them in August of this year, and a maximum of 10 individuals were in each group. All attendees were provided a summary of TCN benefits and the FY24 member benefits guide as a resource to refer to during the group session. We discussed the following main questions to guide through kind of this open space discussion. We discussed what member benefits offered by TCN are most important to your organization and what has their impact been. The second question was what benefits offered do you not use and why, and what changes could be made to make that benefit more useful? And finally, what new activities or resources would you like to see TCN offer in the future? So as a result, we had 4 one-hour-long focus group sessions with a total of 20 individuals giving their input. I'll share out a brief summary of some of the main themes discussed in multiple groups, including some of the benefits that seem to have the most positive impacts, and also new ideas shared on what the participants would like to see TCN focus on next. Similar to this presentation, it was a ton of information coming in, so not everything that was discussed is in this list here, but we did our best to include the main things that were mentioned by multiple groups. Some of the highlights that members saw were, first, the AmeriCorps program was viewed by many participants as one of the largest benefits of being part of the core network, and specifically having member slot flexibility with that program. Networking was brought up in every group as a benefit they saw of TCN, whether it was in the context of the national conference, core rendezvous, the smaller working groups like the communication groups and weekly coalition meetings. This was highlighted as one of the greatest strengths TCN offers its members. Webinar topics, and specifically the ones focused on DEIJ, recruitment, housing assistance, and core member evaluations were commonly referenced. The government relations and advocacy messaging across the network that supports the core movement was highlighted, as well as the amplification of jobs on TCN Jobs at Cores page and the jobs listed in the crew leader. In the same lane of that is the social media exposure TCN offers its member cores was also highlighted as a benefit. Earlier, we heard from Rachel about the Sagawa Fund. That was brought up by multiple focus group participants as a beneficial program, and multiple attendees stated that they always have core members apply each round, and specifically the application process is easy and straightforward. And finally, one of the main highlights, having evaluation coordination specifically for the required AmeriCorps grants was called out as an appreciated benefit as well. And the groups also discussed opportunities for TCN to update resources within existing benefits, as well as gave ideas for new resources to pursue. So these are some ideas that were brought up in the groups that were most common. So some of the ideas included developing new working groups on different topics. So like I said, the communications working group was referenced as a success, and there was interest for the of new groups on different topics. Again, the Sagawa Fund was identified as having a great positive impact on core members, but it was identified that the need surpassed the amount of awards given out each round. So maybe looking into adding more funding into that specific benefit. There was a need highlighted for a resource that aggregates the impact that the core movement has as a whole, and further developing that into a plug and play resource to use in grant proposals. Also, developing tools to help track data points that is required of the annual profile, and perhaps other templates like exit surveys and common database structures at cores. A core member exchange program was brought up. Either building upon or creating a core member exchange program supported by TCN was of interest. Training pathways specifically for mid-level core staff. It was discussed that outside of the core rendezvous, there was talk that there is a lack of training opportunities for mid-level staff at cores coming from TCN. They identified having additional pass-through grant funding opportunities that offer greater flexibility. And then lastly, having specific resources and more focus on state level advocacy. I want to take a moment and just say a huge thank you to everyone that participated in these groups. Your feedback will really help direct the way TCN moves forward in a way that will impact our member cores most. The findings from the focus groups will be referred back to as a source of ideas for how TCN can continue to evolve and support our full members. And I wanted to plug, I know I just mentioned survey fatigue, but if you were unable to join a focus group, but you have feedback you want to share, we always want to hear from you. So I'll share a link in the chat to the membership satisfaction survey where you can share your thoughts. And with that, I'll pass it back to Bobby. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Hannah. Thanks for that overview, and thank you for your and Katie's work on those focus groups. I next want to talk about kind of where the core network sees some of our focus for FY25 based on the findings of these focus groups as well as other conversations. I think there are a few things that we feel comfortable committing to working on moving forward. So the first is around our resource library. We heard that our resource library could benefit from some more recent or up-to-date templates and toolkits. So that is going to be an area of focus for our team in FY25. And if anyone has specific feedback on what resources are most needed or would be helpful, we would love to hear that feedback. We're also going to explore additional working group focused on priority topics for cores. We've heard the communications working group is a highlight and something that cores feel happy to have multiple levels of their staff engaged in. So thinking of replicating that on other topics as well. We want to renew the focus on the core co-op. I know we haven't brought that up yet, but this is a group purchasing organization that partners with the core network to provide discounts on different services and products to cores. We know some cores utilize it heavily. Other cores may or may not know how best to engage with that group. So our goal is to, over the next year, find avenues that are easy for cores to engage with the co-op and with the different vendors they have there. We want to continue to organize webinars or technical training or professional development opportunities that is geared towards mid-level staff and specifically core staff who see themselves as wanting to be leaders within our movement. So helping to build that bench of mid-level staff and have some resources specifically geared towards their needs. I really loved the concept the focus groups brought up about a plug and play resource that summarizes core evaluations and our data that we have through the annual profile. So trying to build out a resource that is more plug and play with that information so cores can grab it, copy and paste, put it in proposals and use it for their own benefit. And then the last one, which I'm realizing got cut off, but this is continuing to work with different departments who are not as much at forefront of the American Climate Corps partnership. So that is Housing and Urban Development, Department of Transportation, or FEMA, really expanding out our agency partners at the federal level to ensure all areas of Corps' work are reflected in the agencies that are supporting the broad initiatives that help to support Corps. And so with that, we talked a little bit about kind of those tried and true benefits that a lot of our members are engaging in year to year. A refresher on that. We talked about what we saw was new in FY24 that we're going to continue forward. So hopefully you saw a couple new ways to engage as well. And then finally talked a little bit about our vision for FY25, what we're hoping to incorporate into the Core Network as new benefits or new services for our members. So with that, I will take a moment in case anyone has specific questions. And hearing and seeing none, I will close us out. So a lot of these reminders, Rachel talked a little bit about this in our upcoming events slide, so I won't repeat them. I'll just remind folks, once you log off, there will be a survey that pops up, so please take that. Let us know how we did. Let us know what other topics you'd like us to focus on for webinars in the future. And just another pitch to go to our events website. It has all of this information, links to put it on your calendar, links to register for those in-person sessions as well. And thank you again to Willis Towers Watson, to the membership team for joining us, and everybody who joined us today. And we look forward to talking to you soon in the future. Thank you all.
Thank you.